the moral argument for God's existence. I'm concerned that a lot of people think this argument means that atheists can't be good people, or atheists must have the Bible in order to do moral things or to know what's moral. But that's not actually what the moral argument for God's existence is. And it's super interesting because, before considering uploading this video, I was looking at a verse in the Bible, and it's a book called Romans in the Bible, which is written to like non-Jewish people. So they call these people Gentiles. I'm not really sure why. But it literally says for, you know, Gentiles, they they don't have the law, but by nature do what the law requires. Hold up. They are a law to themselves, even though they do not have the law. They show that the work of the law is written on their hearts. So when this writer is talking about the law, he's basically talking about the Old Testament in the Bible, and he's quite literally saying the law is written on our hearts. That's why everybody knows that it's good to be kind. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't kill. All that type of stuff. Everyone knows it's good to be generous. Everyone knows what goodness is. If I say to you, what you did there was good, you know what I'm talking about. We both have the same reference point. If I say to you, what you just did right there is very kind, you know what I'm talking about. When you think of kindness, something comes to mind. You know what that attribute means. But why? Why, if you ask anybody in any culture what kindness means? No, if you ask anybody in any culture, is it good to be kind? They will say, yeah, like, of course it's good to be kind. Of course it's good to be kind. Why is that? You don't even need to know their background. You don't even need to know how they were raised. You can say it with confidence. Like, you can say it to confidence with anyone. Is it good to be kind? I mean, yeah, obviously. Most people are gonna respond to you like that. Like, yeah, yeah, obviously, bro. Like, why are we even talking about this? It's obvious. Why is it obvious to everybody? Why does everybody have a similar thing in mind when we're talking about kindness? It's because we all have a reference point that's transcendent. So, to break down what I mean, I'm just going to quote a really cool author, C.S. Lewis. He said that a man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of what a straight line is. So, regarding the moral argument, what he's saying is, say if you told me, Joel, what you did was not kind, you only know what unkindness is because you know what kindness is. You only know what a straight line is when you know what a crooked line is. Obviously, ignore the text around here, guys, but just, think about the lines. Ignore the success stuff. We're talking more about morality rather than that. Like, you all know which one is straight. You all know which line arrow is straight because you have a reference point in mind when I say the word straight arrow. You have a reference point in mind when I say good, let's carry out good behavior. Let's carry out kind behavior. You have a reference point in mind. What is that reference point? So what I find so interesting is that that reference point would have to be a person with attributes, because if you're judging if a law is good or not, if an action is good or not, you're judging it you're judging it based off, to be frank, you're judging it based off, is it good or not? And goodness isn't just an abstract term, it's an attribute. It's an attribute, and people have attributes. Personalities have attributes. So what whoever this reference point is a person with these attributes. And in the Bible, in that same book, Romans, absolutely insane book, definitely worth a read, absolutely insane. It says that, you know, God's invisible attributes have been shown to us. They've been made plain to us. You know, his eternal power, his divine nature have been clearly perceived ever, ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made. So we are without excuse. This means that we all know what God's attributes are. So when I say to you, okay, so say if you say to somebody, hey, can you be kind to this person? Can you be good to this person? You know that they know, you know what they mean because you both have the same reference point in mind. Um, so like, say if you said to me, say if I said to you, what you did was very kind, that's very good. I know that you know what I'm talking about and that we're talking about the same thing because we have the same reference point in mind. And things like goodness, kindness, love, those are attributes. So the reference point for morality itself is a person with these attributes. So another thing that C.S. Lewis said was this quote here. Let me get it up for you. So he said, you know, when he didn't believe in God, he would say his argument against God was that the universe seemed cruel and unjust. But how had I got to the idea of just and unjust? A man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. What was I comparing this universe with when I called it unjust? So this links to how we know that certain actions that people do are unjust. So we know that human trafficking, war crimes, you know, people killing civilians is unjust. Um, how do we know that? How do we know that if I say that to somebody, that war crimes, human trafficking, and just killing civilians randomly is unjust? How do I know with confidence that if I say this to most people, or to anyone really, uh, the only reason they would disagree is for a reason they think is good or they think is just. Evil is just looking for goodness in the wrong way. That's all it is. But you know, everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows that certain actions are not fair, are not just. The only reason some people would agree with those actions is because they are suppressing the truth, and also they're doing it for their own personal gain. They're ignoring it for their own personal gain, their own desires. But you know, everyone knows what's just. Do you get what I'm saying? Um, and we know what's just because that is a personality trait in God as well. God is just. So that's why when we see stuff that's unjust, it bothers us. You know, being made in his image, knowing these invisible attributes about him, his nature, it bothers us. It's like this isn't how the world should be. And it's interesting because, you know, I've said God is kind and God is just. So when it comes to punishing people, like human trafficking, lying, cheating, stealing, killing, all of that. Sins of the heart as well, like a heart posture and motives. What's he gonna do with that? If he's a just judge, he's gonna punish that. He's not just gonna let it slide. That's not a good thing to do. Imagine the judge just being like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I love you. Don't worry about it. It's fine." I think that's how people imagine God sometimes, and he does love you, but he's also just, and he does have wrath against all ungodliness. And people kind of people don't like that, either because they love their sin, or because they don't understand that being angry against unrighteousness is fine. Like, nobody likes human trafficking, nobody likes child trafficking, nobody likes killing, stealing, nobody likes that. And it's okay to be angry at those things, and it's okay for a just judge to punish those things. In fact, it would be a bit strange if he felt like he didn't. Again, I'm only saying it's strange, and I'm only saying this with confidence that you know what I mean, because you have an idea of what justice is in your head. You have that reference point in your head. Like, if I told you that a judge wasn't willing to punish a human trafficker, you'd be like, what is this judge doing? He's not just. Because you and me have the same reference point in mind. And guys, God is a just judge, and he will punish sin. But he also loves us and doesn't want us to be separate from him and be punished. Be in a place where he's prepared it for the demons. It's just not what he wants. He doesn't want us to perish. So what he chose to do in his kindness is just take on flesh, become a man, and take that punishment upon himself so we could be free from that punishment. So it's not like the sin goes unpunished. It's not like he's not being just. He's just decided to take it upon his son. And that's where his kindness and his justice come together, and that's where we see mercy. And from that place, when you realize that somebody would go through all that effort just for you, even though you don't deserve it, it's like, it just makes you want to change. It makes you want to draw near to this person, get to know this person. So I hope that helps understand what the moral argument means. It means that when we talk about morality in and of itself, when we talk about goodness in and of itself, we all have a transcendent reference point, a person with attributes, and that person is God. So yeah, whenever you see somebody getting you know, rallied up about justice, stuff like that, they're doing that because something's fallen short of the glory of God, and they're aware of it. Do you know what I'm saying? So to wrap it up, the moral argument for God's existence is not the belief that atheists can't do moral things. We all know they can. Like, it goes without saying you can. And obviously, like, the law is on your heart, so you don't need the Bible to tell you that killing is wrong, that being kind is good. You don't need the Bible for that. But morality in and of itself is evidence for God's existence. So, and his cross is a way for us to be close to him again.